Hey everyone, it's SurrealBeliefs. So I'm going to be pausing throughout the video, giving my thoughts on the Let's Play. And we're currently on part 2. The previous part is linked down below if you would like to check it out. But let's go on and check out what they have to show us.
Hello everybody and welcome to our Dark Elves Battle Let's Play. This Let's Play is a direct continuation of yesterday's video, where we left off with Malekith sieging the High Elf settlement of Karn Thel in order to disrupt their ritual. Before we get into the battle, I wanted to show off the amazing landscape of this battlefield and some of the High Elf architecture. The settlement battles feel a lot more alive in Total War Warhammer 2. As you can see, the battlefield is littered with High Elf army camps, farms, houses and roads that lead directly into the settlement itself, which is right at the back of the defenders. As well as that, graphical updates to lighting, reflections and anti-aliasing help really bring the environments to life.
Real quick, what I wanted to just point out is that I totally agree with what he's saying right now. Is that what I did miss about what we had from previous Total War titles that were added in was the idea of a living land. And so here we now have more architecture, we have more buildings, which really gives you that sense of, hey, they actually live here. You don't just want a gamey type of arcadey flat plains to fight on every time. If you have little towns to fight in, or you could see that people were once there, such as a battle camp, that is really cool.
In the deployment phase now, here we have the Witch King himself, Malekith, standing smugly eyeing his prize. On his left we have 3 units of Witch Elves, a fast-paced, lightly armoured, high damage dealing unit. Considering their vulnerability, I've placed 2 units of Black Guard of Nagaron behind them, the most expensive infantry unit for the Dark Elves. Of course we have our tank of the battlefield, our War Hydra, such a cute little thing. And onwards now to the Bleak Swords. These are low tier infantry, but can hold their own in a fight and soak up missiles at an acceptable rate. Next we have the Black Ark Corsairs, which we recruited from the Black Ark itself. With their Sea Dragon cloaks they have very high armor, even without a shield. Behind them we have the Shades, a sneaky and vicious unit that are mainly missile focused but decent melee combatants. The Dark Shards with shields are much weaker than the Shades, but will sustain enemy fire much longer, so I have them guarding the Reaper Bolt Thrower. Lastly we have our K-Knight Assassin, whom as many people correctly pointed out in yesterday's video is a male, as there are no female K-Knight Assassins in the lore. Alright, now let's get ready for battle. I'll be cutting between cinematic replay footage and regular gameplay to give you guys a close-up look of the units and an idea of the gameplay. For most of the cinematic shots I'll try to be quiet and let you guys enjoy the atmosphere. And on that note, let's begin. Now a quick reminder is that we have a Black Ark reinforcing us in this battle, which gives us additional bombardment support. So we're going to try and clump up the overwhelming numbers of the High Elves to call down that support on them. As well as that, when we kill a certain amount of enemies, we'll get our Murderous Prowess effect army-wide, which will increase our attack and charge by 25% and give smaller increases to leadership and missiles.
Real quick, to let you know that Murderous Intent is over on the top bar, which you can see to the right of the Bounce of Power, which the Bounce of Power is to the right of the little time meter or time scale. So I'm looking at a really cool battlefield, which is very nice to see. One thing that, again, I did not enjoy whenever you would fight for a small town or whatever that didn't have walls, you would fight on flat plains. Here we can actually see a town and you're near a camp. And I like that we have the Black Ark and its capability to actually bombard into combat once more. If you don't know, if you didn't play the game, Fall of the Samurai had that feature where you would have ships come nearby and they could actually help you in combat. And that was a lot of fun. It got a little bit crazy in Fall of the Samurai, but I digress.
So the basic plan is to devastate as much as possible early on to buff all of our troops to achieve maximum damage output. I had to pull my Witch Elves back and let the Black Guard take over, as they were about to get charged by some anti-infantry cavalry. Just about managed to pull out of that one. The War Hydra is in the thick of the combat now. I'll need to give it some space so it can use its fiery breath ability. Little bit of friendly fire with the Reaper throws there, but it's a necessary sacrifice. The enemy Moondragon is targeting my Witch Elves. Damn, that pretty much wiped out the unit completely.
Real quick, what I just want to point out too, what I'm really enjoying is showing how mighty the High Elves are. Much like the Empire in Warhammer 1, the High Elves have, in a joking way, been the butt of all attacks where they're constantly getting beaten down. And I understand the High Elves will probably be the least popular faction because you have so much variety. In the Lizard Men, you have the Skaven and, of course, the murderous Dark Elves. But what is really fascinating about the High Elves is their diversity of unit roster and their overall lore. Each individual area that they have, like Safari and all of that, it's all an individual kingdom that has its own leaders, its own lore, its own just like specializations. And so it's cool here to see that they can actually strike out and do some serious damage for once, even if they're not meant to win.
We'll get our Shades to focus on the Illyrian Reaver archers which have flanked me. They should be able to take them down pretty easily at this range. Just got my Hydra out of the main combat now, so we'll look to target some of these archers that are peppering me from a distance. Something I forgot to show off are my Dark Riders. I've kept them hidden in the forest to engage some rogue missile units, so we'll send them after them now. Alright, looks like we've got a clump of troops on the left. Let's call down all 3 types of bombardment. The bombardments range from high splash to high concentrated fire, but I like to just use all 3 at once. Nice, that's pushed us over the edge for murderous prowess. This should turn the tables. Okay, looks like the Moondragon is just about finished. It's broken and trying to get away. I'm going to switch our bow throws to anti-large and target it to see if we can take it down. Our cavalry has actually gotten a bit bogged down now with those archers, and we're constantly being...
Hold on, I just want to cut him off real quick. This I did not know, and it's really cool. So apparently, the bolt throwers, from what I understand, what I just heard, is that they have different capabilities, different types of shots. So he changed it over to anti-large. That's really freaking cool. We're finally seeing more detail. See, like, there's a lot of things that were taken out of previous Total War, or the current Total War game, which is Warhammer Total War, that were in previous Total War games, and that is one of them. I want the ability to change shot for different types of needs on the battlefield. So if we're able to do that, that is freaking cool. I'm hoping that the Moondragon isn't that fragile. It kind of seems like it. I'm not too sure yet. But again, it's probably on normal, so they're not really that beefy, but still, I'm not too sure. So far, if you're looking at it right now, a lot of the infantry got pretty beat up. The Corsairs got pretty beat up. The Witch Elves, well, I mean, they're doing what they do best. But there is a lot of variety here to show us what the battlefield will be like for the Dark Elves. I mean, usually when I recruit my own, I have a few more of the same type of melee unit just because I like to have continuity.
Fire Dance is not looking too good for them. Looks like the Moondragon has taken off. Don't think it'll be coming back though. Let's start using some of Malekith's spells. We'll use Chill Wind on this line of archers to scatter them. Interestingly, now you can actually rotate wind spells, so that makes them much more effective.
That's much better.
Our cavalry is just freed up now, so we'll take a look for a new target to send them into. I think the battle is starting to turn in our favor. This clump of troops is still pretty big on our left, so let's throw down the Blade Wind Vortex to get them up out of here. Nice, that pretty much took them all out. We just have a few straggler units to deal with now. The Lothar and Seaguard are great in melee too, so we'll need to take them out and their lord if we want to rout their army. We'll get our bolt throwers to fire on the archers too. It looks like I forgot to put them on guard mode, so we'll have to redirect their fire. Just surrounded their princess now, so we'll debuff her and hopefully take her down. Also, this is a perfect group to use our War Hydra on again. Their Lord and Eagle are just about to rout. Let's see if we can hit any more units with bombardments. The AI are actually pretty adept at moving away from these spells. I've noticed if they are defending and sitting on a hill or something, toggling a spell on them will get them to move away from it and then back in formation. It's frustrating for us, but it's a cool feature for the AI. Alright, looks like we're done here. Karnthel will be razed to the ground and the ritual put to bed. Nice,
that was a really intense fight.
Let's have one more Hydra Breath just for good measure. Alright, that's it for the video everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos surrounding the Dark Elves this week. Remember to follow us on social media for all of the latest updates, and to subscribe on YouTube for exclusive Total War videos.
That was really cool. Okay, so here's a few things that we've learned. First off, the battlefields are much more beautiful. Secondly, we have different shots for our siege engines, or our artillery, I should say. And so that's really cool. So we have anti-large capabilities that you can just kind of change to whenever you want, and I'm sure anti-infantry. So again, we have variety. 3, it looks like spellcasting has been turned up the wall, man. I mean, I saw so much spellcasting in that battle. I mean, part of it was the Black Ark's bombardment abilities, which again are very cool. But what really stood out to me was how many spells he was able to use, how many abilities. So it looks like that's a much bigger part. I'm a little bit worried about the combat speed, only because you now have more to micromanage when it comes to abilities. Whereas, like, whenever you're playing in multiplayer or whatever, you end up using kind of the same one, so you end up taking away the ones you don't need. But here, there was just so much to use. And so because of that, I'm really wondering how difficult it'll be to micromanage all of that. Because, I mean, that was really a lot of stuff to utilize in that battle. But that was really cool. There's not as much for me to really analyze as there was in the actual campaign map, because, I mean, it is a battle. While it is a new battle for Warhammer 2, it's still a Warhammer battle, so we know a little bit more about it. I didn't know if he would win for a part of that time. The High Elves definitely looked really cool. I'm really wanted to see a campaign from their point of view. I'm hoping that we'll get a trailer for them, because I really do love the High Elves quite a bit. And I know that they're seen as arrogant and haughty, but they're actually really cool. And yeah, Teclis and Tyrion are cool. Teclis being very sympathetic to the plight of the world at large. I mean, he's the one who helped found the colleges of magic for the humans under the rule of Magnus the Pious. There's a lot of lore that I could talk about. If you guys ever want to know about lore, just kind of ask me. I could talk about individual people. I like the idea of talking about individual people. I do have a few lore videos, like for Volkmar. I believe I have one for Vlad. I don't know if I have other ones, but I feel like I should be doing them more. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you would like me to cover more news, let me know down below. Check out my Discord community where you can discuss this video and other things too. And as always, until then.